constant upskilling of the knowledge of the compliance domain, strong understanding of the changing regulatory dynamics, the right usage of technology for the betterment of compliance function. Hi, I'm Abhishek with 19 years of experience working with banks, NBFC and fintechs. I have helped hundreds of BFSI professionals in upskilling and advancing their career in the compliance domain and create a blueprint for your career advancement in compliance domain. Now, when we see AI shaping up, we see more and more companies are adopting AI, building AI product, taking services of vendors who provide AI service. So it is all the more now responsibility of our board members, whether executive, non-executive, independent boards, to sort of give the direction to the organization, especially the legal fraternity, the compliance fraternity, the risk fraternity, in terms of how the organization will accept. So I would say three things. The current board has to prioritize AI transparency. They have to also focus on algorithm fairness, because every model will have some kind of trained algorithms and rule-based learnings. We need to focus there. And third thing is, what is the societal impact alongside profit? So I think the purpose and profit should go together. I would say I've always been telling in my work culture when I was working also that, look, we are extended arms of regulator, but we are paid by the companies, right? We are an employer, we are a founder, or the organizations we run. So here comes an additional responsibility of balance between innovation and regulation. And companies like Microsoft, IBM, they have demonstrated that how ethical AI boosts their brands. It builds their customer loyalty. And in fact, they also fetch investments. We have seen how OpenAI has been going into investment spree. A lot of big investments happened in the recent time, even following a private-public model with a very fair public board, and also investments are being taken for the purpose of making profits. So I would say profitability and purpose both will go hand in hand. This concept of black box approach, it was more prominent when we have seen how GPTs and AI models were evolving, especially recently reading the AI Readiness Index report 2025, and I have seen very significant amount of improvement in terms of how people perceive the risk in AI now. The nature of AI was black box initially, but I have seen that there's a considerable amount of transparency, considerable amount of responsible AI, RAI, responsible AI is come into picture. So much so that the discriminatory patterns are being tackled. And today only, when we are discussing with the cohort, we discussed a very wide definition of biasness. What is bias? What is ethic AI? What is ethical AI? What is transparency? What is accountability? So I think as more and more evolution is happening in the field of AI, my sense is that the nature of black box, no clarity, no transparency, no accountability, no going back to the source and getting who did it, what is the rule, how the rule decide an answer. I think now it is diminished. We have more control. I would say human AI, human-centric AI is one of the elements, which means that whatever we are doing in the AI product deployment, we have to ensure that there is a ample amount of transparency, ample amount of accountability, ample amount of fairness, ample amount of disclosure should be there. And that is only possible when we balance profit with purpose. And it is only possible when the champions like our fraternity actually embrace it. So we need to now embrace AI to make India, which is a very highly growth engine for AI manpower in the world, we need to ensure that the human elements, because India as a civilization has always protected human values. So here are a couple of things. One is either we are a user of it or we are innovator of it. We are inventing or developing as a product. Both approach will differ. But let me take a pot shot in terms of how we see as organizations who build product. I would say we need to build ethics by design. Whatever we do, the way, when the GDPR came in Europe for data privacy, how we adopted DPDP Act in India, privacy by design. On very similar lines, we have to work on ethics by design. While there are ethics functions already operating in organizations, whether it is banking, non-banking companies, or even marketplaces or any kind of non-BFSI organization, the ethics by design will not give us surprises. Second, the top-down approach for governance has to come from the board with cross-functional collaboration across tech, business, legal, risk, compliance at an enterprise level. And last, we need to keep innovating by way of a sandbox approach without diluting the social impact. Most of the development was led by India, by US and China, especially when it comes to development of the models. But when it comes to adoption and manpower and workforce getting ready, India is of course having a very strong numbers. In terms of our C-suite preparedness for ethics, I think the leaders are taking a more practical approach now, which is getting part of the journey altogether by building products and also adopting AI in a very meaningful way. But I think my sense is that as it is evolving, I see Chief AI Ethics Officer should be a separate role altogether. Compliance officer in a banking parlance can't double shadow other roles. So even if you make it part of a compliance charter for a NBFC fintech, which is regulated by RBI, SEBI, MFI, IRDA, I would say there could be possibility of dual heading, which could be questioned. But if the very nature of compliances are similar, then of course those roles can be clubbed as well. But it's a evolution still happening. I think the most recent is GDPR, the EU laws on how we can avoid compliances when we deal with data of our customers. That was the biggest thing because we see in India the rules have under the discussion stage, comments have been taken. Act is already there since August 23, but we haven't implemented anything as yet solidly when it comes to product like a system or a solution which requires investment. So I think the recent tech is what of people have developed, and there's one piece I want to cover. Second thing which I want to also sort of focus on the RBI mandate on how the entire internal control function to be automated, and how RBI in Jan 2024 have talked about banks and NBFCs to have complied their automate their compliance function, and that led to a lot of right system process controls putting into place, starting from mid-layer NBFCs till it goes to scheduled commercial bank. So these are the two recent examples which sort of gives us clarity that these past tech, disruptions have helped the ecosystem. Now the biggest blind spot which I sort of see is that shadow AI. What could be shadow AI? Unofficial tools which are not officially allowed deployed, and they are deployed without any governance, may result into poor results, may result into data leakages and biases. So I think the more early we bring in data elements, the more we have data governance put in place, which had to corroborate with the corporate strategy also. See, the AI governance strategy cannot operate unless it is aligned with the vision of the corporate, and that is only possible when the head of the department sit together and take that path forward. So I think unofficial tools, data mining, data handling could be a blind spot. I think the early adoption, I would say training, I would say cross collaboration, the HR team, the finance team, the L&D has to carve out a strategy on how their resources are trained, how their resources can handle this risk coming in future, how their resources can approve a product, a process, a deployment, a PRD or a BRD or a legal opinion while implementing a entire AI development lifecycle. And that is only possible when L&D start doing some kind of a training. L&D start upskilling people. That is one. Second, how are we focusing on AI talent pool? Who is our AI talent pool? And do we have clear protocols in terms of how employee will behave in a scenario when he sees unethical AI usage? Still very early stage. The OECD principles have outlined certain parameters. UNESCO has come out with a guidance outlining what should be there. Similarly, the MIT US University has talked about AI risk governance and repositories and control. But I need to fairly see how ethical AI scorecard should look like. I need parameters. Transparency is a parameter. Robustness is a parameter. Ethical use is a parameter. auditability is a parameter. Can I go back and audit the algorithm and see the rules which actually resulted into a prompt, into an outcome? So I think if I sort of combine all of these, try to give them some weights, either way of a self-certification process or by way of actually taking into quantification parameters, we can generate some kind of a score. So I think as the report says, and I quote, there was a family, husband, wife. Both were financially independent. You can say more or less very equal in terms of their financial independence. And they both applied for a card. Okay. Wife's card got rejected. And you know what happens when your better half's cards get rejected and yours get approved? Forget about what happens to you. That becomes the news headline, where the very fundamentals of the biasness. How would you differentiate between two genders? So I would say these kind of failures have a reputational damage, and it gives customer the reason to doubt. The underrated challenge would be, the veracity or the authenticity of the outcome. Today we have seen we are generating content on ChatGPT. We are generating using generative models and getting output in audio, video, picture, text, and most of the report says that the accuracy levels have gone up. But when it comes to actually touching the source of the regulator, the matching of the principles of the regulator from the regulation and matching the outcome of the GPTs, they have to be seriously looked into, because these outcomes sometimes may have effects of biases, hallucinations, and sometimes it may have information may not be legally verified and cannot be authenticated. So I think we need to be very, very careful, and we should not take it just like that. Any outcome from GPTs has to corroborate and match with the expectations of the regulator, especially who are in the field of risk control, governance, ethics, because this is a misadventure. There are a few things I'd quickly narrate. Point number one, clear governance strategy, comprehensive strategy. We should be a differentiator. You should be differentiated from others because of your complete AI adoption, ethical principle. Then, of course, when you build this principle, you follow global standards, NIST, AI, RF frameworks, SMI frameworks, EU frameworks are there, many other principles are. India is still evolving. Second is that enable your teams with knowledge, training, so that they help you in proper AI lifecycle development. They become your enabler. Don't see them as blocker. Third, dipstick check every 6 months, because the model is expanding. Model may drift also, so do check on that. Do corrective action. And fourth is be proper in reporting, customer disclosures. I think if this 4 or 5 things are taken care, you will see good results. You will not be seen bad in customer side. So at the level of the board, you will have the AI ethics and governance framework. That's a main other governance framework that will lay down major aspects to be covered. Now, this framework, of course, will have vision, mission. It will have terms of references. It will have people who are responsible for driving this. That's the main document. Now, this document is to be followed by the CXOs for their respective vertical for adoption by way of SOPs and specific data-driven policies. So much so that at the third level, at the implementation level, under 1 down to CXOs, we also need the guiding documents by way of manuals, AI implementation manual, which will help that if any proposal come for implementation of AI or for purchase of an AI, buy or build, what is my blocks which I'll take care, what steps I take, how should I approve, which may have AI related clauses, which may have AI related escalation protocol. I think if these are taken care, then you can easily manage your vendors who provide AI services. You can have procurement protocols built in like that, and then similarly you can give a good amount of data to internal audit to audit. I think individually, if somebody wants to learn and grow, there are many programs. In the Upskill School, we run a program on AI ethics and governance for leadership, which is a very comprehensive program with LMS access, with a lot of recordings and data. We do live sessions as well. There are assignments and there is assessment as well. But if the organizations are looking for AI compliant kind of a thing, then I think in India we are still developing that. We haven't seen that as yet. There are frameworks which sort of certify and justify that your AI implementation is good or or bad, especially from US, from the European Unions, but those are still frameworks, and how you adopt them is up to you, and you certify yourself and your auditor certify. So I would say that if you are individually thinking to grow, then of course you are in the right conversation. Definitely we can help you grow, succeed in this the best possible manner. But organization wise, of course, we have to devise what you call the entire AI implementation strategy, which could be measured through KPIs or key ethics indicators, as you said, KCIs, key EI. So take an example of, let's say, a banking world where RBI is there. So they have a clear mandate on how the data has to be processed in India. You know what, for example, for a payment data, whether it is processed by a banking company or a non-bank prepaid payment instrument provider or payment aggregator, which always has a foreign leg in a transaction, it is a very clear mandate in terms of who will store the data, where the data has to be stored. We have seen data localization is very crucial today. It is prominent for a lot of reasons, because of geopolitical reasons, because of data being new growth for engine, growth for both peace and prosperity and war. I think all of these is being talked about, especially, and our topic is like that, the new boardroom mandate, AI compliance, new boardroom mandate, which means what? Which means culture. The way we have culture of integrity. When we say integrity builds trust, many organizations say integrity builds trust. Ethical AI will build creditworthiness, trustworthiness with customer. So the first and the foremost thing is culture, and culture will never come from bottom up. It always come from top down. It is the management, the board, the independent directors, the CEO will take shots, and from there you build championship. There you build ownership, sponsorship. You bring your talent, you create pool of people who drive that, and then you execute in day to day by way of policy, process, system, IT, governance, approvals. All of this may become part of your GSC mechanism also. GRC, AI can become part of one of the GRC elements in the entire scheme of things. And once that is done, then we see key ethics indicators. How are we going? How are we progressing? What is the evolution happening? Do we need to improve upon? Do we need to do course correction? I think these are bare minimum. Young managers should upskill, should learn from people around, learn from resources available. If they need our help, we can help them. Learn how you can be a champion in AI. When I was in bank, started my career in 2004. After doing CA, there was a thought process that you should do credit. You should be a credit officer, or you should go into business. You should sell products, or you should go into finance, become a finance CFO function, controller. So something came in my head, let's go to compliance. And after 25 years, we are talking of compliance. I think today, after so much of new development, AI is like that. So anybody who is a budding employee or budding entrepreneur, he will see AI as something which is force multiplier. I think when we were doing the upskill school, when we are sort of building this company, and since it is aha moment, I need to sort of go back to my own personal experience and how it made that thing. So when we are building this, the one thing is how we can use AI in a very meaningful way so that it can bring change in the lives of people who associate with us. And that's when I realized that not just the technical aspects of AI is crucial, but the AI ethics, governance are more crucial, because you are the approver of that implementation. And that's when we started using technology, taking help of technology, bringing in more AI driven resources which can help us top of the game. And that sort of has given us the what you call sort of the litmus test for us, how we adopt, how we use new models or various other features or technology into our day-to-day working, so that we generate value for others in a meaningful way. So I think, and that's ongoing, by the way. It's not that one-time implementation, it's done. Things are evolving, changing, we'll keep adopting. Maybe we are doing wrong, we have to do something right, all this will happen. But I think that's the way I see that you keep taking step every day. Either it is one day or it is day one for you. You decide.